How do you know when it's time to push your kid and when to bring them close? One of the biggest questions I've been asked with my message about bringing them closer is, does that mean we rescue them every time they have a problem? Does that mean we take them out of school every single time they have a hardship? Does this mean that we swoop in and become the helicopter parent? No. In fact, bringing them closer means that you're a safe refuge in the middle of their storm. That is what bringing them closer means. And sometimes that means physically removing them from an environment that is causing them great anxiety. And other times it means pushing them out into the great unknown to face trials and troubles that we don't want them to go through, but we have to let them go through it. But they know they're not alone because we're holding them. So how do you know? How do you know when to push, when to bring close? It changes. It changes as they age. It changes as they go through different experiences. I even just asked my own son that this week. I don't know when to push you and when you need me to bring you close. I admitted that to my 13-year-old. I need him to tell me. I need him to talk to me. I need him to say, today I can do it. I just need you to tell me I'm not alone. Or today I can't do it. Can I please have a break? I need feedback, and so do you. But sometimes our kids don't know how to give the feedback because their prefrontal cortex isn't developed where they reason and where they problem solve. And so it really does take us leaning in and listening to what they're saying, watching their behavior, seeing what's going on, and getting the pulse of our kids. And that means we can't parent from far away. We have to parent from up close. We have to be right in their lives. We can't assume. We can't just think if they're getting into trouble at school that it's because they're bad kids. We have to be fully engaged and taking the front seat in their lives, even if the front seat means being a very high alerted observer, because there's always something going on underneath behavior. Here's what I know about when I've had to bring my children close is when they are facing anxiety so much, they're in the back of their brain so much that they cannot possibly even do the task at hand until I've brought them close, let them rest for a little while. Sometimes that's a day, sometimes that's been 4 months, sometimes that's been an hour, and then push them back out. You know when your kids cannot handle it because they will have an anxiety breakdown and they won't be able to. And sometimes what we do as parents is we damage them and we make them push, we make them go forward, we make them keep going and pull up their bootstraps. And either two things will happen. One, you'll end up having a child who performs for you because they don't want to let you down. And let me tell you, that is the most dangerous child. It's not the child that's getting into trouble. It's not the child who is screaming and fighting back. No, it's the child who does exactly what you want them to do because you don't know what's going on in their inner world. And one day they're going to break. What you want is open communication. You want to be able to speak with them and talk to them about what is really happening. And when they can't, it means that you're watching. You are their watchman. You are the one who's looking out for them. And some days, you know what I found? I have been great. I've been able to determine exactly what they need. And other days, I've missed the boat. And I've enabled them. I've created entitlement. These are things that we learned from. We're not perfect parents. We are human. We don't know the ebbs and the flows. And the only way we're going to learn is by being in the arena, being right in the grit, right in the heat with them. And when we get it wrong, we learn from it and we move on. Don't think you have to get this perfect. And as we go along and as we navigate when to push, when to bring close, we can be honest with our kids. We can say, hey, I need your feedback. I don't always know, but I want what's best for you. We can talk to them, especially when they're older. Here's the thing. If they cannot, often they cannot. If they're having an anxiety attack or they need to go to the hospital or they haven't been on meds yet, those types of times may be the time you need to bring them close. The times you need to push them out of the nest, the times that you need to let them fall flat on their face and fail, those are the times when they've learned some resilience by bringing close the circle of security. Come here. You're safe in my arms. Now let's try. Take a few steps. Keep going. Keep going. I'm right here. I'm right here with you. If they know that you're with them, did you know in resilience studies, all it takes is one adult in a child's life who's consistently there, where they don't feel they're doing life alone, that they can become resilient. They can overcome incredible odds. But you know what the problem is? The problem is us. The problem is me. If my child isn't making friends at school, guess who that affects? It affects him, but it also affects me, because I go right back to junior high, and I remember not having friends, feeling awkward, and I want to rescue him from that. And that's where I need to let go. That's where we need to stop living in our children's lives and let them face the hard stuff and not rescue them away from it. And so if you ever are feeling like you need to rescue them because of you, that is not the time to bring them close. That's the time maybe to let them go 2 steps and evaluate. Okay, that went well. Let's take 4 steps and evaluate. Let's take 8 steps and evaluate. And you might find at 8 steps, nope, we got to pull back. We got to come in. You see, parenting and relationships is a dance. It's a dance, right? And you don't just always know. It's not always textbook. In fact, it's not textbook. It's relationship. And the only way you know what your kid needs is to be there with them. So when do you pull in? When do you push out? I don't know. And neither do you. That's why we have to lean in and we have to listen and we have to be right there with our kids' lives. And then we'll know. And when we don't, we recover.